Today we're going to install Thingino on a SONOFF Cam Slim Gen 2.
Maybe I blinked or you turned around.
What's up guys, it's Josh from the WL Tech blog. Today we've got the Cam Slim Gen 2 from SONOFF and we're going to put the Thingino open source operating system on it. This is going to be a no tools install and the process is reversible. One of the steps will actually make a backup of your factory firmware should you for some reason decide you wanted to go back. Now if you're new to the Thingino operating system, Thingino is an open source replacement for the manufacturer's proprietary firmware that runs on this camera. It completely removes you from the manufacturer's cloud and ecosystem and allows you to use your cameras with local applications. So if you have concerns about your data going out to the cloud or who knows who, or you just want the flexibility to integrate with your own software like Home Assistant, Frigate, Scripted, then Thingino is the choice for you. Let's get this guy on the bench. Alright, now SONOFF is a name you've probably seen if you use IoT devices for things like outlets or power control. This is the only cam that I've seen from them in person. They do have a Generation 1 which is completely different. This does not apply to the Generation 1. Unfortunately, the Gen 2, I've only been able to find it on Aliexpress. It's not, at least currently, available on Amazon. But make sure and check the links down in the video description. I will keep those updated as time goes on. Now, the hardware in the camera itself, this uses the T23N processor from Ingenic. It has the SC2336 image sensor, which is a 2 megapixel or commonly referred to as 1080p. It has an Alto Beam Wi-Fi module, and this one has 8 megabytes of flash storage. So this is a pretty middle of the road camera. Let's go ahead and get it out of the box. Now we don't need any of the other accessories in here. You'll probably need the power cord if you're following along at home. But here we have the camera itself. It's got a little swivel pivot base, got a SD card slot on one side, power outlet on the back, and a button on the side here. Now, since the size of the camera, they refer to it as a slim right in the project or in the product name. Let's see how big this is compared to some other common devices you may have seen. Here we have a WiseCam version 2, and here we have a Sonato D1. These are both cams that are very popular in the Thingino community. The Sonato actually has the same processor, image sensor, and Wi-Fi as the SONOFF, so if you don't need something necessarily this size, you might find that this is a better deal. These are also substantially cheaper and available on Amazon. I'll put a link down to the video for the installation on the Sonato in the video description, so check that out if that interests you. The WiseCam version 2 is a very old device from Wise and not something that I would recommend trying to buy new, although you might be able to find some on the used market. I wouldn't give more than a couple of bucks for these. Now let's talk about the installation process. This camera, for all intents and purposes, is fresh out of the box. You don't need to have already done anything with the camera before going through the installation process. Essentially what we have is a SD card installer where you burn the SD image to your card and you pop it in, powered on, and all the magic happens behind the scenes. So let's jump over to the terminal and see what that looks like. Alright, now the installer for this is using functionality built into the factory firmware where it's going to look for a specially named script, and if it exists, it's going to run that script. So the first thing that we do, this happens after the SD card is mounted. So the first thing we do is we create a backup folder on the card. We go through each of the factory partitions and make backups of them. Then we concatenate all those into a single backup file that you'll be able to use to restore should you choose to. After that, we're going to grab the U-boot image, which is the bootloader from the image that I include in the installer, and we're going to burn the bootloader. Once the bootloader is done, we're going to go ahead and reboot the camera, and the bootloader is going to look for a special file name, which is this, and if it exists, it's going to flash the full firmware. So the next thing we need to actually do is write our installer image. Let's go ahead and grab that. If you come over to the Thingino installers repository, you will see there is a folder here for SONOFF Slim Gen2, and there's a zip file here. Let's go ahead and click on that and come over here, hit the download button. That'll grab that latest installer image and take just a few seconds to download. Now I've already put my SD card in my SD slot. You need at least 128 megabytes, but a larger card is just fine. You won't need the card after you do the installation, so you can pop it right back out, copy your backup files off of it, and then reformat it so that it'll be ready to use for any other purpose. All right, now we're going to use Raspberry Pi Imager, which is cross-platform. You can find it for Linux, Windows, or Mac. And to use this, you're going to leave the choose device blank. For operating system, you click on that, you scroll all the way down to use custom. That'll open a file picker, and we're going to grab our SONOFF Slim Gen2 SD.zip. You don't need to unzip the file, just go ahead and grab it straight from there. Then you come over to choose storage, and it should prompt you with your SD card. Click on next. It'll ask if you want to apply customization settings. That's for if you're installing a Raspberry Pi operating system, which we're not. So definitely hit no. It'll ask if you want to continue. Hit yes. And it will need credentials potentially to go on to the next step. Now this is only an 8 megabyte flash CAM, so the installer does not take very long to write. And we'll just hang on. We're doing this together. Once it's done writing, it will also verify that it was written successfully by reading the image back off the card and checking the checksums. And that's pretty fast. All right, and that is done. Go ahead and exit this, and we'll pop out our SD card. And here we are back again at the bench. We're going to take our SD card, and it only goes in one way, so make sure you get it right. Pop it in until it clicks, and there's nothing special we need to do here. We're just going to plug it in, and we're going to wait. So just follow along here at home, and yours should take approximately the same time mine does. So here we go, plugging it in. Turn it up so you can see the blue LED has come on. Then these lights around the infrared have come on. You don't get direct feedback on this as it's going, but you can kind of follow along as things change that you're seeing here. So by now I suspect that it's doing the backup, and maybe the backup is done. The lights around the ring have gone. So in theory, we should have already rebooted. And it should be writing the Thingino firmware now. So we're just hanging on for a minute while that finishes. It's only 8 megabytes again, so that only takes a minute or so. While that's going, I'm going to go ahead and grab my phone. And we will be needing the phone to provision this. Let's go ahead and open our Wi-Fi list. And when the flash is done and the camera's back up, I just heard the infrared click, and you see we've got some activity on the light here. When it's done and it's booted up, we should get a new wireless access point that starts with Thing. That's actually being produced by the camera, and that's the configuration portal network. We're just waiting for that one to pop up on my list here. I've got a lot of Wi-Fi networks around. Here we go. Thingino such and such. And on most phones, when you click on that, it's going to take you to a login portal. My phone with the latest update, for whatever reason, doesn't. So what I actually have to do is turn off my mobile data, open my web browser directly, and then we type in 172.16.0.1, and that will take you to the Thingino configuration portal. Now you can change your host name if you want to. It's not necessary. You put in the password that you want for the user with username root, and that'll be how you log into the web portal. Or if you use SSH, you're going to put in your Wi-Fi network SSID and password. Note this is 2.4 gigahertz only, so make sure the credentials you're giving it are for 2.4 gigahertz network. And also pay attention, the SSID and password are both case sensitive. So I've gone ahead and done that. It takes you to a verification page, and once you confirm there, it'll give you a configuration complete, and it's going to be saving the changes now, and the device is going to restart. So we're going to give it just a second to do that. Had a blink on the camera, and in a second we should hear the infrared filter. There's the infrared filter. Now we're just going to give it a few more seconds to power up, and we're going to have the camera tell us its IP address, which is one of my favorite features of the Thingino firmware. So all you do is you wait the appropriate amount of time, and you just tap the reset button, and it does this.
IP address is 192.168.82.127.
So there we go. Now we have the IP address of our new camera. Let me go ahead and pull that up on my phone. Now, if you get the chime and you don't get the IP address read to you, then it was not able to get onto your wireless network, or you don't have internet access on that wireless network. If you need to go through the configuration process a second time, you can actually hold the button down for about 15 seconds, and it will do a factory reset. Just wait until you hear the third chime, and you'll be good to go. Alright, so here we have the Thingino preview page. Now the first time you load it up, it will probably need to set the time zone variable and give you a big red reboot button. We'll go ahead and do that. And the camera will be rebooting pretty quickly. Now obviously this camera doesn't have motors, so there's no pan and tilt, but it does have all the normal night vision and infrared modes. And here we are back to the preview page, and you'll notice it's a little choppy on the preview page. That's not actually a video stream. To access the video stream, you would use a video player that supports RTSP or an application that supports ONVIF. At the bottom here, it actually gives you a command line that you can use for the MPV software to play it, or you can use whatever software you prefer. So here is actually a video sample streaming through RTSP from the camera, and that includes the audio being recorded by the camera just for reference. Now, when I bought mine, it was a few months back. It was right before the tariffs started, and I got mine for about 20 bucks. I'm looking right now, and it's closer to 28. And I do have a couple exclusive coupons that you can use to get a little bit closer to that. Make sure you check out the link and the coupon code down in the video description. I will keep that updated as time goes on. I think the coupons are good for about a month. But that's going to wrap it up for this video. If you've got any questions or comments, make sure and put them down below. I appreciate those thumbs ups, and if you enjoy this kind of content, make sure to give me a subscribe. If you're interested in the project or some of the other projects that I have here on the channel, come join us over at the Hackers Homestead Discord. The link for that also is down in the video description. I've also got links to other cameras that I really like, and I hope you'll come and see us in the next video. Until then, take care and stay fresh, cheese bags.